Thomas and Friends, Wooden Railway Originals, Episode 8, The Earthquake, Part 1. On the island of Sodor, there are many different engines that have many different jobs. Gordon pulls the express. Percy pulls the mail. Edward works in the yard. Thomas and Toby work on Thomas's branch line. James and Henry work on the main line. And Duck pulls coaches on his new route. And the coaches were just repainted pink. It runs from the new station, which was named Tidmouth, up and around Gordon's Hill, and then he stopped at Edward's station. It had been a regular morning for Duck, and he had just got finished with his first train, and he decided to talk to Edward until his next train. "How are things, Duck?" "It's good," he said. "All the passengers are well behaved, but some of the passengers get annoyed by some of the crying babies." "Oh, that's happened before. Some of the passengers really got annoyed." "Yeah, it was really packed, too. All the passengers were jammed in those two coaches back there." "You know, they just got repainted yesterday." "Really?" "Yeah." Yes, they did." I can't tell if it's blue or red." "Well, not blue. Red or pink?" "They're pink," said Edward. "Well, thank you for telling me, because I didn't know," said Duck. "And what you said about the coaches being packed, I have a tourist caboose in the shed, in one of the goods sheds. Want me to go get it for you and shunt it onto your train?" "Oh, yes, please," said Duck. "That would be wonderful." So the two engines decided that the caboose would go in between the two coaches. So Duck coupled up to the first coach in the front, and the shunter uncoupled the first coach, and Duck shunted the first coach away. Then Edward had got the tourist caboose and shunted it in the middle, in between, and shunted it in to be the first coach. And then Duck backed up and brought back the first regular coach. So now he had a longer train of 3 cars for the passengers. There was 2 coaches and the tourist caboose. "Well, that worked out well," said Duck. "Yes, it did," said Edward. Just then, there was a loud rumbling sound. "What was that?" said Duck. I don't know," said Edward. "We'll find out, though." Just then, the island shook. "Whoa! What was that?" said Duck. "I don't know," said Edward, "but we'll have to go check it out." Just then, Duck and Edward heard a cry. "Help! Help! Somebody help!" they looked over and they saw Thomas on the bridge. The bridge was about to collapse, and Thomas and Annie's coupling was about to break, and Thomas was about to fall in the water. "Help, somebody, help!" he said. "One of us two needs to go help Thomas," said Duck. "Yes, immediately." "I'll go, Duck. You have a train. You stay here." "But I can't go, because there has been an earthquake and some of the line might be cracked and out of shape, like the bridge over there." "Yes. Well, I must go, because I am an older and more responsible engine. And plus, you're a great wash train engine." "So," said Duck, "I'm a goods engine. You carry passengers." "So," said Duck, "well, I need to go, because I'm not as important as you are." And Edward left. "Wow," said Duck. Soon Edward managed to he was almost to the bridge. He came down a piece of track before the bridge. "Whoa!" he said. The track beneath him was crumbling. The supports fell. No, they did not. Edward was almost to the bridge where Thomas was. He came down, was almost to the place where Thomas was. "Whoa!" he said as the track beneath him was crumbling. He went over a broken section of track. "Whoa!" he said. He made it just across before the track fell. "Well, that was close," said Edward. "I'm glad it didn't crash." "Help me," said Thomas. "I'm hurrying." Soon Edward was coupled up to Thomas, and he began to pull. "Oh no," said Thomas. "This does not feel good at all." His front two wheels were on the track, and his back four wheels were off and were hanging beneath the gorge below. "Ah!" said Thomas. "I'm hurrying, I'm pulling you." So Edward heroically pulled Thomas back onto the track. "Shoo!" he said. "Thank you, Edward." "You're welcome, Thomas. But how are we going to get off of the bridge? Both sections of the track are broken." "I don't know," said Thomas. "I guess we'll just have to wait." "Yes," said Edward. "We might just have to wait." Duck decided to go somewhere and help other engines because Edward and Thomas were obviously stuck on the bridge and there was no way to help them until the track was repaired. He was uncoupled from his coaches and puffed away down the line. Soon Duck puffed in the docks. "Whoa!" he said. "What happened here?" Cranky had fallen on top of Henry, who was waiting for his goods train. "Help me," said Henry. "I'm stuck."
"I'm stuck too, you know, and I'm mad, 'cause I fell over, and it takes forever to get me back on the track, you stupid steam engine."
"Oh, be quiet. No one wants to hear your voice around here. You get annoying as it is."
"Well, I don't care at all."
"Stop quarreling, you two, and use some manners when you're talking."
"Well, get us out," they both said.
"I can't. We need ropes, chains, and cranes and other cranes to come and help put you back up and get Henry back on the track."
"We'll be waiting here forever," screamed Cranky.
"I will too," said Henry.
"It's not your fault," said Duck. "It's the earthquake."
"Wow, earthquake."
"Yeah. Now I better go off and find other engines to help, because this way of going to Knapford is closed off." So Duck raced down the line to Knapford Station. Soon Duck arrived at Knapford Station. "Oh my goodness," he said. Knapford Station had been completely demolished. "What happened here?" said Duck. "Well, when the earthquake happened," said Percy, the roof came down on us. Well, not me, just the mail cars and the express and Gordon."
Oh, the indignity of lying here on the ground and in the mud and dirt and the concrete.
"Oh, be quiet," said Percy. "Percy, you need to come with me quickly. You're one of the only engines left on the island that's still on the rails." "Really?" beeped Percy. "Yes, we must leave immediately." "Okay, Duck." And Percy left Knapford, and soon he was coupled up to Duck, and they run off back to the shed. Soon the two engines that were left, two of the other engines that were still left on the rails, arrived at the shed. Duck and Percy.
"Engines," said Sir Topham Hatt, "we are in a dire emergency. The earthquake has demolished many buildings and has stranded engines on bridges and on other track. We know that Henry is trapped at the docks. Thomas, Annie, Clarabelle, and Edward are stuck on the bridge by Gordon's Hill. And we know that Gordon is trapped at Knapford Station. But we do not know where Toby is."
I don't know where Toby is, sir,"
said James. I looked all the way along the main line, sir," said Duck.
"I have been at the station, waiting for somebody," said Percy.
"Well, we need to go and find Toby. He could be stranded. He could be wrecked. We don't know what happened to him," said Sir Topham Hatt. "So, Duck, I need you to go find Toby immediately."
"Yes, sir," said Duck, and he puffed away quickly. But sir," said Percy, "what if Duck gets trapped or stranded? Then me and James here—"
"Oh, be quiet, Percy. This is not a good time to be calling and pointing fingers at people."
"Whatever," said Percy. "But me and James will be the only other engines on the line," said Percy.
"Well, so be it," said the Fat Controller. "I hope there's not an aftershock or anything."
"What's an aftershock?" said Percy.
"An aftershock," said James, "is when there's one earthquake, then
one keeps on coming after and after, just a few minutes afterward," said James. "I hope there's not an aftershock when Duck is venturing along the track for Toby." "Yeah," said Percy. When me and Duck went across the Sodor Bay Bridge, it was very wobbly and shaky. I hope it doesn't fall."
"Well," said Sir Topham Hatt, "the supports have not been checked in a long time on the Sodor Bay Bridge. We must go check it after the earthquakes are over," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Where would I be if I were Toby?" said Duck. "I do not know where he could be. Well, I know his first train starts at 8 o'clock. Wait," he said. "His train does not start till 8 o'clock. My first train is over at 7:45, and I arrived 10 minutes late. Not 10 minutes late, excuse me. 10 minutes early, so he could be at the sheds," said Duck. So Duck rushed away quickly to go find Toby at the branch line shed. Soon Duck came to the turntable. "What shall I do?" he said as he turned around. "One line is blocked by trees, and that's the only way to the branch line shed that's available. And the other way is broken off right after the hill," said Duck. That's what happened to Edward. I don't want to go off the side. I don't want to be stuck in a ravine. Oh, I must brush aside those trees to go see if Toby's over at the branch line shed," he said. So Duck turned around on the turntable and went down the track that had the trees. The trees that were in the way of Duck's path were very thin and they had no leaves on them. So Duck charged at the trees, and they went out of his way, surprisingly. "I must go get Toby immediately," he said, and he rushed up the line to go find him. Soon Duck came from underneath Gordon's hill. He rushed down the line, through the set of points, and around a curve. "Whoa," he said, "this track is not very well in good shape," he said. It was not. The track had ended off, and the supports had gone away. The track piece was laying by the side, and he looked down the line. "There's Toby," said Duck. Toby puffed up, as close as he could get to the edge of the track. "Toby, me, Sir Topham Hatt, James, and Percy were wondering where you were. We didn't know if you were stranded or if you had been crashed." "Oh, I'm all right," said Toby. "I'll just be here for a while, because the track is broken. You must go back and tell Sir Topham Hatt, James and Percy that I'm okay. Now go along quickly now," said Toby. "Okay," said Duck, and he rushed away and back down the line. Soon Duck rushed quickly back to the shed. James and Percy and Sir Topham Hatt were still there. "So," said Sir Topham Hatt, "did you find him?" Yes, I did," said Duck. "He is stranded at the sheds. The track is broken. The supports have came loose and everything." "Oh no," said Sir Topham Hatt. "This will cost a lot of money and damages," he said. "The railway may have to shut down," he said. "No, it won't," said the engine. You could borrow some supplies from the other railway," they said. "Well, that's a good idea," said Sir Topham Hatt. "We've been needing another engine around here to help with the work and all," said Sir Topham Hatt. "But I don't think it's the right time right now to be buying an engine." "Yes, sir," said Duck. "We do not have enough money right now because of the earthquake damages." "You sure are right, Duck. You are a very smart Great Western engine." "Thank you, sir." That night, the engines were still at the shed. None of the engines had left. Sir Topham Hatt had gone home just a few minutes before it got dark, and he went home to get some rest.
I hope the railway doesn't have to shut down, said James.
"It would be very bad," peeped Percy.
"Yes, it would," said Duck. "I wish we had another Great Western engine here," said Duck. "I feel so alone in my Great Western ways," he said. "It's okay, said James. "It's not your fault you're the only Great Western engine here." "You're right," said Duck. "It's not my fault."
"Well," said Percy, I have a feeling tomorrow's going to be a long day," he said.
Yes,
it will," said James. You'll have to help repair earthquake damages." "And hope there's no aftershocks?" peeped Percy.
"Yes, no aftershocks," peeped Duck.
I hope there's no aftershocks," said James. "That'll just ruin the plan of rebuilding everything," he said.
Soon it started to rain, and the wind came down. "Oh my goodness, said Duck. There's a fierce storm coming in.
Yes, Pete, said James. We must get in our sheds and go to sleep and wait until morning. So all three engines backed up into their sheds and went to sleep. The next morning was better when Duck and Percy puffed out of their sheds. James was already out and looking around. Wow, he said. The storm didn't do very much. It just made the rails wet a little, he said.
Let's hope that, said Duck.
And James backed into his ship. Then Sir Topham Hatt arrived.
Engines, we have a very, very long day today.
I told you so, peeped Percy.
Yes, Percy, whatever. Now, the first engine that we must help. It must be Toby. Now, there has been many damages over the night. Not many, but just a few trees had fallen down, he said. Well, first, over the night, it had rained until 10 o'clock last night, and the workmen had put the supports back up onto the track where the Blenshine engine shed leads to. So, and they have almost mended the track. So, James, you must go and help Toby immediately, he said. This is an urgent situation, he said.
Yes, sir, I will not let you down, sir.
And he puffed away very quickly.
Now you two engines, Sir Topham Hatt said as he moved into James's spot. Now, you two must help with the cleanup process. First, we must go help Gordon at Knapford Station. You must clear away the wreckage at the very best possible, said Sir Topham Hatt. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, peeped Percy, and the two engines puffed away very quickly.
No, said Sir Topham Hatt. I need a rest, because I didn't sleep very well last night at all. So he walked away, back to his house to get some sleep.
Soon James had arrived at the place where the Blenshine engine shed was, and Sir Topham Hatt was right. The workmen overnight had fixed the support and had put the track back in. Toby was still waiting there. James's driver called out from the cab.
I cannot possibly pick that huge piece of track up, he said. Toby must have to cross it, said his driver.
Toby heard this. I'll try,
he said.
And soon he started to. He went up the incline of the piece of track.
Almost there,
said James. Then came a big bump. Boom, boom. James backed up a little so Toby would have some room to get by. And then he puffed up more courage to get over that crack in the track. He puffed, and soon he was halfway over that piece of track. Soon he puffed more, and soon his back wheels were stuck and had almost derailed off. Of the elevated track that goes to the Blenshine engine shed.
Oh, help, said Toby. My wheels are slipping more and more. Oh no, he said, I'm going to fall. My back wheels, said Toby. They're going to come off the track. Oh no, I'm going to fall.
Not on my watch, whistled James. He coupled up to Toby and pulled him back onto the track.
Thank goodness, said Toby.
Soon there was a rubble and a shake. Oh no, said James. The supports are coming out again from the bridge.
I'm slipping again, said Toby.
No! You must come on. You must hurry, said James. Okay, said Toby. He puffed up, and they soon they were almost to the junction when some of the supports fell out from underneath the bridge. Whoa, said Toby. Keep puffing, said James. Soon he was almost off, and it was almost to the junction. More supports had fallen out. Oh, help, he said. Come on, keep puffing, said James, as he went back some more to give him some space. Almost there. And soon the whole track piece that he was just on had fallen out. Oh my goodness, said Toby.
Wow, said James. I didn't know you had that much courage to get across there.
Oh, you think I didn't have it? I didn't have it, he said.
Oh, come on. We need to get back to the sheds immediately. You need to puff on back there. I must check on Thomas, Annie, Clarabelle, and Edward while I'm here.
Okay, said Toby. So Toby went back to the shed, and James went over to go see Thomas, Annie, Clarabelle, and Edward. Soon James arrived. Are you okay? Said James. Yes, said Thomas. Yes, said Edward as he screamed from behind the train. Were you hurt in the storm last night? No, said Thomas. The passengers are hungry and thirsty. Well, they might have to stay there for a while, said James. Sir Topham Hatt said that we must help other engines that are not stranded. We're stranded, said Thomas. That's not my fault, and plus there's no track connection to get you across, said James. But I must leave now. We are having a meeting at the sheds, said James. No, I must go. And he puffed away quickly. Duck, Percy, and Toby and Sir Topham Hatt were waiting at the shed when James puffed back in. Thank goodness you're back, James, said Sir Topham Hatt.
I'm glad I'm back, said James.
Good, said Sir Topham Hatt. Now I see you have rescued Toby. And he said that you checked on Thomas and Edward, Annie, and Clarabelle.
Yes, I did, sir, said James.
How are they?
They said the passengers are stranded, and they're hungry and thirsty, he said.
Oh, great, said Sir Topham Hatt. They will say this is a bad railway, he said. When we might not even have enough money to give them refunds, said Sir Topham Hatt. Oh, goodness, sir, said Duck. I hope the railway doesn't close. Close, said Toby. Close? I don't want it to close, because then I'll have to go back to the scrapyard, and I don't want to go there. You've never been to the scrapyard, Toby, said Sir Topham Hatt. I almost did before. They said if no one would take me onto the railway, that I would have to be sent to the scrapyard. Well, you're here now, said Sir Topham Hatt, and you're not going anywhere. And there is no record of you going to a scrapyard on the records that I have in my office, he said. Oh, said Toby. Oh, okay. Well, said Sir Topham Hatt, we must try to help those passengers, said Sir Topham Hatt.
But how? Said James.
I don't know, but we'll have to do it before they die. Then we'll have to get Annie and Clarabelle took into the works and get them refurbished, and that will cost more money that we don't have, said Sir Topham Hatt. Now, you must all stay in your sheds until a ship from the other railway has arrived with more track and more support blocks for bridges and elevated parts of the track. Yes, sir, said the engines, and they all backed into their sheds to stay there for a long while. And Sir Topham Hatt walked away.